Along perilously steep paths, Black Rayla led the Queen and company towards Mahakam, the dwarven homeland. There, among snow-capped peaks, someone awaited.
Rayla, you brought strangers.
Gabor, I present to you Meve, Queen of Lyria and Rivia.
Ah, a queen. Crivens. Well then,
A large shadow swept across the sky. The dwarf swallowed the rest of his greeting as all raised their gazes to see a dragon soar swiftly toward Mount Carbon.
Keltilus, dinna be afeard, he isn't a threat to us.
The dwarf had broken the silence gently, he himself quite familiar with this altogether unusual sight.
And now, sit yourselves down afore the pottage grows cold.
But... Flew... Drake?
Stone shrivelling marvel, innit? Makes you almost sad the lizards are dying out.
Should you not worry more about the fate of your brethren? That creature will soon have all Mahakam aflame.
Ha! Keltilus? No! He's lived here centuries. Harmless for the most part. Now, your grace, a taste?
No, none. Though your offer of repast I value, good sir.
Oh, no need of that. Gabor, please. Enchanted to make your acquaintance.
Gabor here's a true local notable, from one of Mahakam's leading clans, the Zigrins. But then he wouldn't be our guide if he wasn't. A guide for all important guests.
A pleasure. And as I said, I thank you for your hospitality, but I've no time to feast now. I must speak to your ruler at once.
Don't mean no offence, but Elder-in-Chief Bruverhoog's a recluse of sorts, as humans go. Didn't even meet the ones that wear crowns. But I suppose I could, meaning if you drafted a letter...
Her Majesty's got Demoven's signet, given willingly.
Ah. Well, that's a sheep of a different sort. We didn't let many human folk into Mahakam, and for good reason. So those who we let come through the second gate get blindfolded. Just after they've surrendered their arms at the first, but you've the leaden ring. Given one of your kind to confirm trust and amity. So, we're certain we can treat you as one of our own. Elder-in-Chief's in the pass visiting, looking to his flock. Come on. No reason you two shouldn't jabber right quick.
Though the Lyrian infantry rose half an ell taller than the dwarf, he moved with remarkable ease through the waist-high snow, while those behind him slipped and stumbled on the ice-slick rocks. Meve and Rayla trailed the party, so they might speak in private.
Gabor Zigrin. That's neat. They've got a, I wouldn't say friendly, but a passive dragon in the area.
Non-humans you despised immensely, I believed.
They don't bother me a bit. Long as they stay in their lands, seek fortune nowhere else. I detest only those who infest our cities, humbly insist on belonging to our guilds, holding office in our institutions, armies.
Yet some find a place for themselves, blending marvellously.
Well, it's never lasting. They're different, odd. Strain's inevitable. And then they'll always stab a human in the back.
The ring. However did Demavend come to possess it?
Elder-in-Chief himself gave it to him, years ago. A decade, perhaps more.
Why?
Oh, you must have heard the tale, Your Grace. You see, formerly, Foltest of Temeria's sovereign of Mahakam, he believed it was his right to tax any land lands, so he sent collectors. Well, the dwarves felt stripped, so they stripped the collectors down to their natural state. Put them in beer barrels, they then rolled down the mountainside.
Ah, my. That incited Foltest's ire, I'm sure.
Indeed, Ember hot ire. A punitive expedition was assembled immediately. We're about to set off when Demavend managed to dissuade Foltest. Elder-in-Chief gave him the ring in thanks.
I see it all now. Prevented Mahakam's slaughter, Demavend did.
Your Majesty, Demavend prevented a slaughter, true. But Foltest's in the Temerians, not the dwarves. Mahakam and fortifications. Well, you'll soon see. No human will take them.
The Elder's gratitude, then? Not certain I know where it came from.
Had the dwarves crushed the Temerians? No, when they had done so, what would have happened? Why, retaliation against all non-humans in Temeria. Bruver knew this, so in fact, Demoven saved them.
Exceptionally provident, the Elder-in-Chief.
And shrewd as a swarm of snakes. So when you speak, beware his hiss, and weigh your every word.
Rayla,
Your Grace, to fight arm in arm with one so bold as you is an honour from which I'll not readily resign. I was to lead you to Mahakam, King Demoven's order. As to my duties afterwards, I receive no instructions. So until a sealed scroll containing such arrives, I will serve your grace under her command.
I'm content, Rayla. The times are such that no aid can I dismiss, and yours in particular.
It's slightly concerning that they still use the phrase, "You've chosen one evil in favor of another," in this context. Like, damn.
I'm humbled, your grace.
Let us move on. I've grown amply curious of this Elder-in-Chief, this Bruver Hoog.
Your Grace, I have a message for your eyes only.
I didn't realize that the Grey Rider was a voiced character. Ooh, got a few of them. Oh. Report Mahakam. Situation in Mahakam. Stable. Unchanged for centuries. No evidence of internal opposition, open or covert. Power in Mahakam held by Elder-in-Chief Bruver Hoog, ruler on behalf of clans. Warning. Hoog extremely difficult negotiation partner. Tiresome to get him to sit down to talks. Deathly wearying to convince him to make even minor compromises. Only values good of Mahakam and its inhabitants. Appeals to anything else lead nowhere. During present war, Mahakam maintains strict neutrality, trades with both Nilfgaard and Northern Realms. Letter from Captain Tobias, Part 2. Part 1 was this one. That was the guard that let us go when we transitioned maps last time. Your Majesty, as promised, I'm reporting to you on the situation in Lyria and Rivia. Your son is king in name only. True power is held by Count Caldwell and General Abdehi. From what I hear, both lust for sole control, thus conflict between them is inevitable. Soon, Nilfgaard will start expelling peasants from the best lands of Lyria and Rivia and importing their own settlers to replace them. Willem tries to delay the process, but General Abdehi will not relent. Our prayers for your success, my lady. Captain Tobias. What was his power? I can't remember anymore. Caldwell had a really cool ability from what I remember, and I was bummed out to lose that. But now I can't remember what it was, so I guess I've moved on. Letter from Mayor of Gatburg. Your Highness, thank you once more for the mercy you showed our city. By leaving the stolen treasures in Gatburg, you saved us from the horrors the invaders are perpetrating elsewhere in Adarn. We are in your debt. I know in times of war, deeds count more than words, so I've included a pouch with this letter, and in it, gold gathered from our townsmen. I have no doubt you'll make good use of it. Vlad and Vasco, Mayor of Gatburg. Leave a bunch of gold and he sends you gold. Almost paradoxically. I'm at 10 grand and 2,600 wood. I need more wood. I wish I'd bought wood in those previous chances I had in the first map, which didn't really show up in the second map. But in the first map I didn't really have that much of a mess of resource types. There's a few new cards in here I need to check out, right? Whoa. They were all like rendering weird, weren't they? Let's get rid of you, I don't like you. Let's bring back the lightning or something. Click. Alright. At the very least. Ooh. Royal Decree. Draw and play 2 Blitz units from your deck. Neat. Word of advice, follow this to the letter and we won't have any problems. Okay. That's a cool one. I'll play with that a bit. I like the idea of drawing 2 allied units. You don't control which ones they are, but still, like, that's what I go for when I'm trying to draw, when I'm trying to use my drummers and everything. Just having one unit that's two of that is fine. Especially since one of the Bliss units might be a drummer, because they themselves are contained within that characterization. What'd you do again? That's when you're throwing one of your graveyard guys. Gaebor Zigrin. Deploy. Spawn and play Gaebor Left Hook or Gaebor Bottomless Pockets. Oh, I pick one. So Left Hook is has a deploy of damage unit by 10. If it was destroyed, deal any remaining damage to another unit. Oh, so it always does 10 damage. If it kills them, it just chains to somebody else. So that means it's 10 damage you can chain among a series of units then. You can intentionally target a weak unit and then still damage somebody else. Bottomless Pockets. Play one trinket from your deck. Also not bad. The versatility is pretty good too. Having it have two different abilities and the ability to choose is pretty good. Bruverhug once wanted to banish him from Mahakam for having a llama in his living room. It's a long story. He has a cost of 13. It's not low. Is there anything else new? I might be adding something new in a moment here. Ooh, the final tier is here. Adept Plus. So she already did the thing where she added 2 copies of a unit to your deck. Then they boost all copies in the hand, deck, and battlefield by 2. Huh? What changed? Oh! I'm just used to that version because that's what I would usually draw from the bronze thing. But that's not what she normally does. So first she just draws 2 copies, then she gets a bonus. There's Wagenberg Plus. Damage all units on a row by this unit's armor amount, then lose all armor. Gain 1 armor whenever... So all it does is gain Zeal. It's even still a 3-2. I don't like that, but I don't like that upgrade. I would prefer something cool like get 2 armor whenever a carrot appears in this row, like some kind of bonus. Not only is it still a 3-2, meaning it's very easy to kill, which is why I kind of have been avoiding them, but all they added was Zeal. But Zeal just means I can use the ability faster, but the whole point is to use it later when you've stacked up the bonus. Otherwise it doesn't do anything really. Having Zeal seems kind of... I've never wanted to use it on the first turn. Mantlet. Mark an ally. When it's destroyed, move it to hand instead of graveyard, then destroy self. Interesting. Interesting. Okay. So it's a trinket that lets me essentially get a card back again, either because I know it's going to be destroyed or because I choose to destroy it on purpose for some reason. Alright. Yeah, I do not like the Wagenberg Plus. I'm not really in a hurry to go down that path necessarily. Rivian Onager. I've seen that like once ever. Damage an enemy by 3, 2 charges. Whenever an ally is destroyed, gain 1 charge. Zeal. It's not the worst. Especially in a longer fight against an aggressive enemy. Except that aggressive enemy might just shoot the Onager, which only has 3 power. So, it's not great. Crushing Trap Plus. So... set the power of each unit on this row to the average of the row's total power. If the average is 3 or below, destroy all units, including self. Oh! Okay. That's interesting. So it doesn't get any more powerful against strong units, but if there's a very large number of weak units, you actually wipe out all of them instead of just averaging them out. That's interesting. Okay. Pitfall Plus. Just makes it 3. Damage people by 3. If they appear here, damage them by 3. Just makes the pitfall stronger, but that's appealing. I like the pitfall trap, so it being stronger is a big appeal, and the crushing trap getting additional versatility is not bad either. And I can afford this right now, which is of note, because other stuff's hard to afford. Horse Thief, there it is. Mark a unit. After 3 turns on turn start, switches power with its unit's power. That's a little interesting. So The downside is it has 4 power, so it's easy to destroy, and it takes 3 turns to do its trick, but it's a neat trick, which is that it switches power with another player. That means not only does this thing gain power, this one gets strong the way that like a spy would, but it also in turn weakens the other target. And then yeah, the upgraded infiltrator is pretty good. This one does whatever's on the right, which they'll often intentionally play a shittier unit to the right of him after I play him to make his power weaker. But this one copying 2 units makes him just straight up stronger. Restraint and Zeal. Set a unit's power equal to the unit on its left. Oh. The change here is it stops being a deploy action and it becomes an order, but an order with Zeal. So you don't lose the option of having it happen immediately. You can do it when you play him, or you can wait and do it later. And he also is twice as strong, so he himself is a stronger unit. One downside of this is it makes it an order, which means if I'm fighting Nilfgaardian soldiers, it's going to be bad when they play that one unit they always like to play. But it's a decent card. It being twice as strong in particular is a decent change. Well, yeah, there's nothing new there. Mess Tent 3. Units, excluding artifacts, take up 25% less of the recruit cap. I can afford it if I want to. It's not the worst thing to have. In fact, yeah, it's more than twice as strong as the previous upgrade. It's just that the more I emphasize that kind of thing, the more trouble I can potentially be in that I can dilute my deck more and more in a way that's kind of a mess. If I keep adding stuff just because I can. But maybe. There's no downside of having it except for the fact that you get other stuff first if you want to spend it elsewhere. Decreases the gold cost of getting units by 25%. Yeah, but you spend 2,500 here, so you gotta build a lot of units to make that worth it. But these other upgrades might be better. Each unit gains 1 armor at the start of the battle. Whoa. Cool. Does that mean every unit gains 1 armor in my entire battlefield and hand and deck? Because otherwise there's no one. If it's just battlefield, there's no one to get it. I'm gonna assume that it works that way. That's nice, but it costs so much wood. I could make it to this one if I get a little bit more wood. I can make it all the way to here because this one doesn't cost very much wood. It'll set me back. I need about I need 110 wood, and then I can get both of these if I want, and I'll start having armor on everyone, which is a decent amount of armor. I want these, yeah. This is a good upgrade, so I'm going to be buying this at some point. Recruit cap of 3,000. I can afford that. It would just destroy what I have. 300, I mean. But once again, like, do I want to dilute the deck to having a recruit cap of 300 and so on? Like, that's between these 2 upgrades, I can fit so much of my deck that's like enough rope to hang myself. Alright, training grounds. Yes! That's what I want. The regiment, because I like the regiment drummer, but he's limited by the fact that he only draws bliss units. So if he could just draw the next card in the deck instead, that means I get a greater variety of rewards for using him. And then the thing where he gets bonus draws if the first thing is a blitz unit just snowballs like crazy. And I can afford it. I'll probably get this one just because I've been anticipating getting it. Lyrian Cavalry, play a copy of this unit from your deck. So just every time you use your loyal ability, you keep playing another one. Works better if you have a loyal ability that has a shorter cooldown, but still. And then Grey Rider is the guy that... Oh, it's the plus version. Where's the previous one's here? It's a 5-3, this one's an 8-3. This one boosts somebody by 1, this one boosts somebody by 3. Just anytime anyone is played or moved, he just runs around boosting them by 3. Oh, this is a really good upgrade. All 3 of those cards are pretty strong. All 3 of those are pretty strong. Damn. I'm probably gonna have a deck based around those units to some extent. Alright, what's this one? Enables you to trade gold for wood or recruits as well as wood for gold. Yes. I need that too to deal with the fact that I have so much gold. Yes. I'm almost certainly buying these two. The Strays of Spala. Damage unit by 5. If it's on a row with fire, damage all units on it by 5. Ooh. Ooh, that's a good combo with the fire. We encountered this card the first time they let me play with the Strays with the pre-made deck, but the moment I actually had control of them, I couldn't get that card because they didn't give me a copy, and they don't let me build one until I get this upgrade. Strays Cavalry Plus, marking unit damage it by 2 every time instead of 1. Yeah. Slinger 2, the Slinger Plus, so it goes from a 6 to an 8. Move 3 cards, damage them by 4. Yeah. Oh, and it becomes an order. For these ones it's deploy, for these ones it's order. It's stronger and an order. Okay. Mixed bag though, because once again, it being an order means that it can trigger that one effect that gives them a bonus on order, and that is the one way it's a negative. Otherwise, it's increased versatility. Armory 2, Lyria and Landsknecht. Zeal, loyal, gain 1 charge, damage an enemy and all enemies with the same power by 1. Not very strong, but you can just keep poking away every time you get 1 charge. Kind of a plus, it's essentially like a +1 to Meve's ability that I've been using. And then depending on how many of them you have, you can keep going with it. Rivian Sapper Plus is the same as before, but it'll chain its way through a series of 4 people that have 4 instead of 2. Lyrian Hajduk 2. Give 1 charge to adjacent units with order, instead of just the one on the right. Sure. Pretty sure I'm going this way though. Better drummers, better riders, and then that guy. That's definitely my... all 3 of those cards match my current playstyle. Like, those are all good. Yes. Like. Okay. And, ooh. Whenever somebody moves, boost them by 3. I'm just thinking about, like... Oh... It's bad if I want to actually attack the enemy, but if I just want to get a bunch of number... Then one thing that I could do is, yeah, move to another row. What I can do is I can use the infantry deploying dude. What was he? The war wagon, especially this plus version that spawns 3 of them, and then I can't afford it because of the wood, unfortunately. It spawns 3 infantry, and those infantry have an order that lets them move. If they move, that guy will move to each of them and give them a +3, meaning a +9 overall, making War Wagon Plus very effective in conjunction with that rider. Oh, I very much like that upgrade. Is the rider already in my deck? I don't have any more copies of this card. Do I have any copies of this card? No. How expensive is he? He don't come cheap, gold-wise. I think that's why the game gave me so much gold compared to my other resources, because I'm supposed to be buying units like this. Yeah. I think I want a couple of these. Alright. Regiment Drummer. I've already got a bunch of those. Only 2 though. I only own 2 of them total. Now they're this much stronger, I want to do that again. Just the fact that they can chain and all that. That's scary. Where's the last guy? That was the cavalry. I would want to have a bunch of them in my deck. They'd be similar to the pikemen, except not a waste of space, basically. But I'd want to have like maybe 3 of them in the deck and start chaining through them as a sequence, basically. So I'd intentionally want to only have one of them in my hand or fewer, but then every time I use my... but I keep getting plus 10 every time I use her ability. A horseman's worth no less than his steed, and Lyrian horses are among the continent's best. I'm a little nervous because I'm spending resources like crazy, but you're supposed to be buying units. Not that weird. Man, the fact that the drummers themselves can play... Like, I might want to film... I might want to get a bunch of them because they can chain blitz units, which means that if they end up drawing each other, then they will draw... They essentially are drawing each other for free and then drawing whatever's next. And then the thing that the copy of them that they drew also gets to draw through the deck after that. So you start getting crazy amounts of draws. Like, it's not just that one of these guys drawing another copy of himself then gets to draw an additional guy for free. It's that then the other guy then also gets to draw an additional guy. It's like it starts spiraling out of control. I'm all the more convinced I'm probably not going to use the pikemen. I really got to get... Where is he? There you are. More blitz to go with my other guys, but also, frankly, I've gone... These guys are pretty strong, and I've gone way too long without them being in my deck. Like, they are useful to have. Both because of the big damage they do, which goes well with the fact that I have so many ways of summoning units now, and because of the loyal ability they have. I kind of just enjoyed thematically the idea of not using them for a while because I was having such a massive deck shift towards using the new guys, but I'm ready to bring them back. I gotta be real careful with how much I add to this deck sometimes because it's gonna get really, really sloppy really fast if I'm not careful. You can actually, yeah, you can just plop more of these into your deck if you want to. Since they're not that expensive. I'm bad at deck building. I'm just fairly convinced that I'm done with... I think I'll throw a war wagon in there to go with the two Radders I have. But I definitely want to upgrade them before I start over-investing with that particular card. And I don't have much confidence. Just because I never feel like I'm that great with the deck building. But we'll see how this new mess goes together. I probably shouldn't just be using every single hero by default, but it's hard not to, because they just seem neat. Ooh, you drawing blitz units could chain like crazy if you end up drawing those guys. Huh. I wonder if I should take out the thunder and replace it with elf and onion soup to go back to more summoning. I don't know, the guaranteed nature of this is pretty powerful, admittedly. I'll let that sit for now. Where is... You're the trading post, okay. Ooh. It's not cheap. Every 100 wood is 400 gold. And yeah, you spend 100... these ratios... It's not a smooth back and forth. It always gives you a sense that you're trading very much at a loss, which makes me nervous that I might be damaging my campaign by using it. Oh boy, it's time to talk.
Yes?
Rayla, might I ask you a personal question?
Certainly, ma'am. But I can't guarantee I'll answer.
You see, Nilfgaard marched into my land, invaded, stole my crown, slaughtered my folk, and topped it all off by turning my own son against me. Yet, The hatred I hold for them's a mere shadow of the passion that grips you. You lust for the blood of every last Scoia'tael.
Haven't heard a question yet, Your Grace.
What did they do to you, Rayla? What happened to make you who you are?
Elves and humans, they can interbreed. But you must know that. My mother was an elf, making me half of one. We lived in a hamlet, and all around us knew. The other children would bully me, beat me, spit in my face. No why. Because they feared the Scoia'tael. But powerless, fully aware they could not defend themselves, they took their fear and shame out on me. The Scoia'tael sow hatred and terror between the races. And that will not change. It will not disappear, as long as their bloody rebellion continues.
Demoven's reason for so fiercely defending Aldersburg, I must say it caught me quite by surprise.
Not me. King went to that brothel every time he stopped at Aldersburg, which was oft. He made sure of that. I told him he'd sting a girl with his serpent one day, but he wouldn't listen.
My, I see Demoven couldn't keep anything secret from you.
Didn't have a choice, really. When Edurn was not at war, I served as his bodyguard, followed him everywhere, and saw everything. My king enjoys life, enjoys pleasures, and indulges often, but none of this has hindered his ability to govern the realm bloody well.
I must go.
There's some interesting development. So she's half elf. And it's easy to make the mistake of conflating the Scoia'tael with being, you know, the elves, which is not the case. They're specifically like a terrorist organization of elves and dwarves and other not so friendly groups. But none of those groups are themselves Scoia'tael. It's just that Scoia'tael is made up of members of those races that are angry and want to wipe out the humans and so on. And probably not for unearned reasons, because basically everyone, at least on a large scale, is kind of garbage in the Witcher universe. So it's not surprising that the Scoia'tael would have reason to be mad at humans. But in their current iteration, one of the main things they do is just make humans hate everyone like them, which is a problem for everyone, really. It's one of the many things that continues to parallel. To some extent, it's hard not to think that the Scoia'tael are intentionally meant to draw parallels to Al-Qaeda, all the way down to this idea that like they and what they do is so barbaric and so hated that it leads to people hating the people that they're from. And so you'll have people be intensely racist against Muslims and so on, and Arabic people because of terrorist organizations, and they are willing to they're willing to sign off on so many restrictions and stripping away of rights and even hate crimes against these kinds of people because they conflate them with terrorists, even though like they can't all be terrorists because there's billions of them, and the world would be so much worse if they actually were terrorists on that scale. But because there are these eye-catching terrorist organizations that specifically do inherently identify themselves as Muslim, that's people end up conflating the two, and that works to the benefit of said organizations, because those organizations want you to be racist against their people and so on, and want you to hate everyone and be okay with like drone strikes killing civilians and all these other fucked up things, because then these innocent people that were not part of that organization, when they get harmed and damaged and murdered by these foreign governments that are fighting against the terrorist organization, that's all they see is the damage done by the people fighting the terrorists. If you hit third parties during those fights, those people just are the ones getting attacked by you, and you're the one that's in the wrong. And so then that just pushes those people to become more radicalized and potentially end up joining those very terrorist organizations that they were not a part of. So in the process of fighting these organizations, if you do so in an indiscriminate or racist way, you end up making them more powerful, because the people that you are conflating with being parts of those organizations it becomes like a self-fulfilling prophecy. You make them part of that organization when you make it feel like they have no other choices. And so that's what they're feeding on here, is that like the more that people do what we saw, where they will try to lynch any elf in this story because they must be part of the Scoia'tael, or they must be working with Nilfgaard. We don't trust them because they're different, and also people like them do bad things. Then you push them more and more towards joining those organizations because they will end up thinking that it's the only way either they might do it out of a sense that it's the only way to survive because they're directly under attack, or they might do it because they think that it's the only way. They might do it out of spite and out of anger. You might radicalize them to the point where that they feel justified in doing those horrible things that they would have otherwise not done. It's a big old fucking mess. It's fighting guerrilla and terrorist organizations is so much more messy and complicated than fighting like a rival country over a land dispute or resource dispute. It's so much messier, and we've been just watching this for decades where I'm sure these books were written during too. Anyway, this was a fun topic.